and I say hello to you. This is our third meeting, I think, or fourth even, the fourth meeting of the, I called it originally Corona Chat, but now I changed it into Wisdom Factory Chat,
Yeah,
so, because we don't only want to talk about Corona. It was the first time when we were so much, you know, in awe to need to share what was going on. So I'm Heidi from the Wisdom Factory, and I'm happy to have here again Volker and Ella and Griselda and new, how do you say, not member, new participant. I forget English, I'm sorry. Is Raquel from Spain. So we do a short check-in. I can start. I was in an online conference from 9 o'clock in the morning until just now. It's still going on. So I had to change my seat. I'm lying now outside in a comfortable chair. And I thought for chatting is okay. And I'm fine. It's wonderful weather and I'm really quite happy, but we will talk about that later. I give over to Volker.
Yeah, hi, I'm Volker from Germany, living in Nuremberg. It's my second time with you. Some of you I know already. And yes, I feel quite good, still quite good. It's not the worst time in my life, this Corona situation, I have to say. So I start to see the change and the advantages of that, what is happening, not only the bad side. And that helps me a lot to feel quite good.
Who do you give over? To whom?
To Raquel.
Well, thank you, Volker. And I'm in Alicante, Spain. And I am very well, thank God. I'm giving a lot of thanks because I live in a beautiful place just in front of a forest. Therefore, I can see green and even walk, even though they don't see me. Because here they couldn't only see me, the ants and the squirrels. So, you know, there is no problem of infection whatsoever, me to anyone or anyone to me, because this is like a ghost town, because it's 95% of foreigners here, and they have all gone home. So in the urbanization, I am practically alone. So, you know, I thank God that it's been like that. So physically, I am very well, and environmentally also. And at the same time, I am thrilled with the possibility, you know, the potentiality of what is happening, because it's, for me, it's like a way of the possibility of assisting to a new birth of humanity. Like a situation which may put ourselves as a collectivity in a situation of having the opportunity to really create something new. So I'm very content. And I pass it on to Graciela.
Thank you.
Griselda.
It's okay. Very grateful to be here. Today I feel well rested. We're just starting the day over here. I've had a couple of stressors which kind of have activated quite a bit inside of me. So I'm just trying to kind of come back to center, dealing with a housing situation where I have to move pretty soon. And then also soon starting a new job and resigning another job. So it's a lot of things happening at once. And I'm just kind of trying to go with emotions and not resist the change too much. And also, like Volker mentioned, to find the gratitude and the blessings in the middle of it all, because I feel that I can get caught up in what's not working, but I'm choosing to also see the blessings and find gratitude in the things that are working well. And I'm very grateful for that. And so that also helps me to be a little more grounded and centered. And so it's good to be here. And I'll do my best to be as present as I can be, regardless of all that noise that I have going on. So thank you, and I'll pass it on to Ella.
Yeah, and you are in California, no?
Yes, California.
Hello. I'm in Italy, not far from where Heidi lives, actually, and I agree with, I don't know if you say Raquel or Raquel. Raquel, living in the country is a blessing nowadays. You know, I mean, it's always a blessing to me, but especially now, you can move about. And I have to go inside soon because the acacia tree is throwing down all these little bits on my laptop and me. And I'm getting tickle in my throat from it, you know. It's the spring, what's it called? Allergy, I suppose. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything has kind of stopped, you know, and me with it. And so I think that it was a break possibly that we all needed to sort of contemplate. And I agree that things will change. Obviously they'll change. Whether they'll change for the better or for the worse remains to be seen. We can all hope. Oh, the motorbikes are out here. We can only hope that it's going to go the right way. Because there are so many signs and so many people now understanding that things were not going very well, and that a change was really needed.
Okay, thanks. Ella, I'm surprised. I didn't hear the motorbikes yet, because normally at the weekend we are in a very curvy road, and she lives more or less at the same road than I do. And I actually live about in the airline about 400 meters distant from this road. But when my Mark always said, when the bankers on the weekend, they go on their motorbikes and you hear them like bees humming around. So that was also a relief that there was not this noise anymore all the time, or the airplanes always going over our heads, no? And now it's beautifully calm. Who knows how long, but anyway. So yeah.
Thank you, Heidi, for creating this space to meet each other. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's, how do you say? Niente, you say in Italiano, and in German.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome in English. Okay, good. I can tell you what, after the death of Mark, I was not really sure if I should continue these things, no? And because we initiated it together. And then I thought, nah, better do something than nothing, because the first year was really hard so it's good that I had an appointment, you know, all the time and had to do things. And now lately I encountered a woman, actually I knew the book long before. It is called The Archetype of the Soul, The Archetypes of the Soul. And I had an interview with her, and then I had her done the matrix for me. And there it came out that it's exactly what I need to do, connect people. And I thought, okay, if this is really what is meant for me, so I will continue. And so.
And you have been doing it very well, by the way, because all this aging thing that you have been doing, these meetings about aging, have been wonderful. So
yeah,
you've been doing it very well.
Many other topics. And you know what I plan to do? It came into my mind yesterday after writing messages with Ella, and I invite you all to that, because Ella is thinking about writing her, how is it, memoirs. And I thought
it's very pretentious to call it memoirs. I call it memories.
Memories, okay.
started. I've actually got to 4,000 words. It's going very well. And
Okay.
it's partly for myself, but it's mainly for my grandchildren because they've been asking me for this for years.
And so I was thinking about last night, I was thinking about why not invite people over 50 and ask how, when you look back on your life, what do you see as a show, as a contribution for the Wisdom Factory? So you are invited to think about it. It's just the first thought in my head, and until it will be realized, I think it needs still some time. But thank you, Ella, for the idea, and I will do it online, and you write it. It's okay. Okay, so let's dive in. Griselda, if you want to share something what is a problem with you, and if we can support you in any way, I would be happy to. So, but if you don't want to, it's fine too,
Thank you.
I would like to share something that I've lived last week that I think that it will help us all, and it can help also to spread the word that you can tell other people, and humanity energetically in itself. And have you known about the transformation game? Does anyone heard about it? No? It's
From
Tinkhorn.
from things. I know it very well. I've been there, let's say 25 years ago, and bought it when I was there, and they play it also in a big round there on the ground.
That's the planetary game, transformation game. The
Great.
planetary transformation game, which is wonderful, wonderful.
It is.
So I am a facilitator of the transformation game, and I have also played it in the big way. And this March, it was supposedly going to have a good one, a planetary game there in Findhorn. But because of the COVID-19, it was not possible to do it. So the 4 facilitators, which is Joy Drake, the one that created it, and then the one that commercialized it, an American, surely, girl named Kathy Tyler, and then the first facilitator that learned how to facilitate the game with them, which is Judy McAllister, and also Mary English, which is the one that is doing the accountancy of the transformation game since they started 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they were so nice that they said, look, we are going to do the planetary transformation game for free and for everyone, and we are going to do it online and for everyone that wants to come.
Great.
So that was so wonderful, so wonderful. Anyway, we were there, 130 something people from all over the world. And the 4 facilitators were two of them were in Findhorn, and 2 of them were, one in the United States and one in Germany or something like that. And they had these stacks of cards that will represent the answers to a specific goal. It's a specific purpose that the transformation game plays with. Mm-hmm. And the goal, the purpose for the humanity, because it's a planetary game, therefore it's for humanity, even though we can, apply it to our own selves, but planetary, it was the purpose of integrating with grace and strength the soul of the world and the soul of humanity to create significant relationships for the best of the planet. So imagine what a beautiful, beautiful goal, right? What a beautiful purpose. So they said, we are not going to do the whole planetary game because it's 2 days of game. We are going to only do what we call in the transformation game the following steps, which is 4 cards only. So they got every facilitator in one place of the world, and then everyone will get one stack of 56 cards, and it was going to be getting 1 card out of those 56. So, you know, the chances of statistically get that one in specific, it's impressive, right? So they were going to get 1 insight, which means what is, like, let's say, supporting this purpose. Another one was going to be a setback, what is limiting or what is putting the obstacle to really get this purpose out. The third card, it will be an insight, but not a normal insight for the purpose, but an insight which will be like resources to get out of that limitation. And then 1 angel. And the angel will mean, in the transformation game, represents the qualities. What quality will help us to fulfill, you know, to the humanity, that purpose? So the insight, the first insight that supports that goal was saying, you did it, which means you are doing it as well. You have service with a smile, and you have service with no strings. Gain 1 service token. In the transformation game, when you gain a service token, it means that you can then, because if you don't have it in the game, you cannot pass to the next level, because there is a physical level, an emotional level, a mental level, and a spiritual level. And in the game, when you play it, if you don't have 1 service token, you cannot pass to the next level. So that was very meaningful, because it's telling us, to the humanity, that we are about to change levels of consciousness if we do service, in the sense that it will support us to service one another with a smile, with no strings. Then the limitation for that, to fulfill that purpose, was frustration. So what it's really limiting us to go forward is our frustration, individually and collectively. And then the insight as resources to get out of that, the card was saying, you've been able to get out from the you haven't got caught in the merry-go-round of your pleasant distractions, but completed the task at hand with focus and patience. So it is very interesting to say that to get out of frustration, the answer is not to be like that, watching TV 24 hours a day, okay? The pleasant distractions, or doing other pleasant distractions 24 hours a day, but complete whatever the task that we need to do. And as humanity, I think that our task is being conscious of this great change that the world needs in itself, with patience and focus. The result of that is 3 awareness, because every insight brings awareness. So the 3 little cards that are called awareness were responsibility. It means if we do that, of focusing in the task at hand, we will get responsibility, alternatives, and being. And I found, girls and guys, that so important, because it is telling us that if we don't do that, we are going to disappear. We are not going to be anymore.
Okay, Raquel, I stop you a little bit. You are taking over the whole chat, but it's interesting because it seems to be the result that exactly what we need to do and to have. No, so I would actually prefer to go back to what was happening before we recorded it. I mean, you can also answer to what Raquel said, but before we were talking about, Ella, you said something with Volker, I think, and I something about that it is probably worse than we think, or it was about the numbers of this Corona thing, no? And yeah, I do believe that it is difficult, and they admit that's difficult to have good numbers, no, because it's really not easy. I think in a situation like that. But as far as I am observing what is going on, the few official statements I hear from scientists or from these official German institutions or Italian institutions, that people are getting better in understanding what it is about. So that in the first moment, it's clear that they couldn't know what it is because it's really, really new. And so I'm pleading to people not to always blame and criticize and do. I was talking in another group before and give, guilt for things that didn't work and so on, because, I think that most of the people try to do their very best. And then when they are encountered with, you have done bad and you could do better, I think these people who say that should put themselves into the shoes of the people and see how they would make it better and if they really would be able to make it better themselves. So that's my statement to the present situation of numbers and of where we are in now at the moment. And I would invite you to say what you want to say, or to this, or to Raquel, or to what you think it's important to share. I saw before, Griselda, you were unmuting yourself, so I suppose, I was in German the whole day, so I'm not in English anymore. I suppose that you wanted to say something.
Oh, no, I muted myself because over here where I am, I have my window open and I don't know if the noise level goes through, but sometimes the sound of the crows is there and I don't know if you guys could hear it. So I was like, maybe I should mute myself so that's not distracting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it's just interesting to notice. Like right now when Raquel was sharing, I was noticing about the theme of the world, and then in the space where you're at, there's the globe, the image of the two globes you have behind you. So it's just interesting how connecting that with what you're sharing about, the world and humanity. And I do believe that there has to be something good that can come from this, like the lesson or whatever it is we need to learn. But I also feel that we as humans, sometimes we're slow to learn, and sometimes the lesson needs to be repeated again, which is a little scary if we don't get it the first time. But I'm really hoping that people can get the seriousness of it only once, and so that way, moving forward, we can take steps to take care of one another and, hopefully, yes, bring the best of us. Because sometimes I was in another group some other time, and they were talking about how lately some of us can be more thin-skinned. So they were recommending to be quick to forgive and quick to accept. And so sometimes when I'm caught up in that cycle, maybe judgment or criticism for myself or other people, it is good to remember that, we're doing the best we can with what we got and responding under stress. And so I think that if we were in a very relaxed state, which luckily some of us are able to do that, but not everybody does. And so people are in different spaces. And so just to be patient with one another, I think that's important. Yeah.
I think I've unmuted myself. Raquel, I mean, I try to follow what you were talking about, but I must be honest, I'm not quite sure I understood any of that, you know, because I don't know, I never even play cards, you know, I mean, I don't know, I'm just so preoccupied with what reality throws at me that you know, I don't know. I really didn't understand that at all. I mean, I know about Findhorn, and I know lots of people who've been there, and I know, you know, it's a magical place and everything. And it's beautiful. And coming back to numbers, though, just quickly to say, because they say so many people are infected and blah, blah, but they don't test everybody. Unless you test everybody, how the bloody hell do you know how many people have got it? Because there are people who actually have it without even knowing it. You know, I mean, it's just the whole thing is that we always have to see reality, you know, and always sort of measure and analyze and understand everything. It's just obsession with that. But I think that's the wrong approach, totally. I think you just have to go with the flow here and just let this thing have its course somehow, and make the most of it and hope for the best. And obviously you do everything you can to sort of stop it spreading and so on and so forth. I mean, I had a message from my brother just then on WhatsApp. In Sweden, they have an app. You have to fill in the app to try and help stop the virus by putting down your symptoms. And it said, even if you feel fine. And then I replied, well, if you feel fine, what symptoms have you got? I've got a bad back. I mean, it's, you know, and then it ended there because, you know, because that's another thing. You can be asymptomatic with this virus and still have it. So, you know, human beings, we are so wired in such a strange way, really, you know, and I agree with you, Griselda. I think something good will come out of it. But Jesus Christ, we spent 2,000 years and we haven't really learned a lot from history or anything so far. So, you know, I'm asking myself, why should we now? Because I mean, viruses have existed even during our lifetime, but then they didn't affect the rich white Westerners. And so nobody really cared what they died of in Africa. And this is the reality. You know, they say this virus is democratic because it affects everybody. It doesn't. Now they even got lots of figures on that people who are poor and living in certain poor areas of various countries are much more susceptible to the virus than other people. It's, you know, it's not a democratic thing. It has really pulled out the sort of inequality in the society, I think, especially in America where you have no health system.
How is it in Germany, Volker?
The situation at the moment,
Yeah, so your feeling about what is going on, your insight, your assumption.
I don't know really what is going on in Germany. I know a lot better what is going inside of me.
Good answer, perfect answer.
And there is a big change inside of me, and that is, I don't look at all at the numbers anymore, which is a totally confusing thing. Every day something different, and that is the situation outside. My impression that nobody believes anymore in all these theories about how the virus is spreading and all these things. Yeah. So, and we are a bit fed up here in Germany with all the rules and the strict rules. And yeah, but inside of me, I feel my view is not going outside anymore. It's going inside, and I can see the changes inside of me, which I mean, I see the changes outside anyway, too, but I'm even more surprised about the changes inside of me. And that is a result of the virus, you know, the pandemic, that such a big change, the view is only inside, and I have the feeling even to save the world, I have to change myself. And I know that on a spiritual way for a long time already. But now I realize I have to do something. I have to change a lot of things. I'm working in the moment a lot. I just came, it's not randomly, in contact with Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you know him. And so I'm very much with him in the moment. And that means, first of all, what can I do to change the future by changing myself? And that's a really big thing. I never was so conscious about that as now. So that's a result of the pandemic, that I was really thrown back to me, and yeah, and there's a lot of work to do, and I have the feeling it's getting on all the time, and so I'm not. Yeah, what is it? Ohnmächtig. What was Heidi?
Ohnmächtig. Losing, how do you say? Fail the senses. How do you say that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that, you know. I can't control the world outside. Not at all, yeah. Everything is different and changing, but I can change myself. I'm very powerful with that in the moment, with that feeling. I can change myself, and then I have the feeling, that's a new thing. If I change myself, the world will change.
That's interesting. Can you say where the goal is? Where do you want to go? What is the change, the goal of the change?
Yeah, the goal is quite easy to do everything conscious, you know, get out of all this unconsciousness. Even if I am quite developed man, anyway, 80% of my what I'm doing is not really conscious. And in the moment, I really have the power to say, I will only do that, what I have the feeling is the right thing to do. And I can't know it as far as I understand what is right and wrong, yeah? But not to do just things because I'm used to do it that way or whatever, to really have a look on it, what I'm doing, and to change it. Mm-hmm. I'm very conscious, but for example, I'm the food, my relation to food is not very conscious. I'm just eating every shit, yeah, because it's cheap or whatever it is, yeah. So that's a big gap in my way of living. I'm doing a lot of things very well, but I'm going into a food store and don't really get out of conscious in that moment. And that's, for example, something I don't do in the moment. I mean, it's going very conscious inside of the store and try to choose the good things. And very often I have to go to take things I've already chosen, take it back and bring it to the corner where I got it. Yeah, things like that. That's the way I try to start to get to change myself a bit.
Thank you for answering my question, and that brings me to the idea we could share what has changed for us inside, you know, all of us. Who wants to start?
I could comment on that. I feel that for myself, I too am making an effort to be more conscious in my relationship to food, in the sense that I was noticing that because I was having such high stress levels, I was more like on survival eating. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's like more like eating really fast to the point that I wasn't really taking the time to savor my food, to chew the food, to enjoy the flavors. And about a month and a half ago, I was in the ER, and part of it contributed to some other stuff that I had, but also I noticed that when they had to help my stomach by putting a tube through my nose and actually being able to see some of that stuff that I didn't chew well enough. And I'm like, well, I guess I needed a visual to realize that I needed to take more time to really to help my stomach in a loving, gentle way. And so to me, I'm making that conscious choice that I need to slow down, and I still need to do a lot of slowing down because I notice that my stress levels are still high. And that's definitely, it's kind of like they're correlated, you know. It's like how fast am I eating is related to how stressed I am. And if I'm more calm and relaxed, then I'm being more loving and gentle with myself in that I'm making a conscious effort to notice that how many times am I even chewing before I take on the next bite. So I feel like I'm being mindful of that. And one of the meditation practices that I belong to, they do mindful eating meditation. So I'm trying to remember that, to be aware of that. And the other thing too, I'm making a conscious choice to do more tracking inside of myself, like kind of like you mentioned in another meeting, Heidi, about the sensation of the earthquake passing through you. I feel that I'm making that conscious choice too, to be more aware of the sensations. Let's say when something's activated in my heart or chest area, what does that feel like? Where's the constriction? But also noticing other parts of my body where there's support. And so I feel that it's easy for me to run away into the distraction of, like, let's say social media, checking my phone, checking email, whatever the distraction is, instead of being curious and saying, oh, what does the sensation feel like? What kind of attention does it need right now? And so I'm making that choice to be a little more, kind of be like the loving parent to that inner child that needs attention. So I feel that I'm making that choice to be more loving to this part of me that says, I need something right now. And can I offer that to myself? Or can I ask for support, and to give myself the permission to ask for that support from others? So to me, I feel that's part of the ongoing inner work that I've been doing, but I'm making more of a conscious effort to say, I'm going to be with this. I'm not going to run away. And when it comes, even if I don't want to feel it, it just comes like a wave. It's like, oh, I'm noticing that right now I'm having this sensation. I want to run away from it. Maybe I want to walk to kind of walk it out, but I'm just noticing that when things come, I'm very aware that there's an activation and that I have a choice whenever I want to address it, or if I wanted to stay there, then it's going to linger longer and be with that discomfort. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Raquel, do you want to
No,
pick up?
no. I haven't experienced any change whatsoever, because I do exactly what I used to do all the time. Nothing has changed. I do everything the same. The only thing is that I, for example, talk more like this in Zoom meetings. That's the only change I felt, that I talk more in Zoom meetings.
Yeah, and you said that the city is different because it's empty. What?
Oh yeah, no, but this is in general. In general, this is very empty, because this.
How does it make you feel? How do you perceive that? Is this good? Do you enjoy it, or do you?
I love it. I love it. I came here precisely because it's a place that, you know, foreigners have houses only for summer.
Mhm.
Well, summer or winter or whenever they want to come. They may come only for 15 days or a week or something like that. And they spend the whole year without coming. So that's why in general, this is kind of very tranquil.
Mhm. So for you being in the near a wood, the restrictions you had, and they were very strict in Spain, like they are in Italy, you didn't even notice. And when you went to shopping, in the shopping places, and when people wear masks and you have to wear masks and think, how is that for you?
Nothing, in the sense that when I go to the supermarket, I just wear the mask because it's only like 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes, and it's not a problem. I know that it's needed, so whatever is needed, I do. I'm not a rebel against it. I just, if it is needed, I just do it, and it doesn't give me any problem to do it.
And to see people with masks, and we see only up to here, like, you know, like the Eastern, the Muslim women, these very strict Muslim women, where you can only see I find it a little bit weird, I have to say. I hardly, sometimes I don't recognize the people.
It's true, it's true.
Well, at last they can't complain about Muslim women anymore because they all go. That's another positive thing, apart from not being any football or any nonsense like that around, you know, in my opinion. But, you know, because, you know, the French banning burqas, you know, how can a state decide what you wear? I mean, I don't believe that, you know. And you said you're not a rebel. Well, when they start coming and saying that they're going to put on my mobile a thing that tells them where I am, I think I'll leave my mobile behind. I don't like this kind of surveillance stuff. You know, I think it's up to me to decide what's safe for me and others, and be responsible, instead of being told by some person in government who might not be very clever either. You know.
Yeah, but here, if you don't wear a mask, they fine you with 600 euros.
I know, but I haven't been out for 2
So
months.
I mean, you can rebel as much
Yeah.
as you want to.
No, I'm not saying a mask. No, I
I
think
just don't want to pay 600 euros at all.
No, I agree with them. I agree you have to wear a mask if you're amongst people. Of course you do.
Sure.
You know, and gloves as well, and you have to keep your distance. You know, that's the only way it's going to go, this thing. You know, but I'm saying about this tracing where you are, and they're going to put a chip into everybody who's had it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
You know, that's such an invasion of privacy, in my opinion. That's, you know, we're losing the grip of democracy because of fear here, which is terrible. Could be that's what I'm worried about for the future, that everybody's going to say it's for your own good and you accept any old stuff, you know. But to talk about this, how it's changed me, in as much as funnily you talk about food. Because food has become very important for me as well. I'm hardly ever eating any meat anymore, and I think I'm going to end up becoming complete vegetarian after this. And I must admit that I'm enjoying the cooking and the eating, because, you know, because that's one of the highlights of the day, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you sort of enjoy it. You enjoy doing it. And I think when I wake up, what should I cook today? I never used to think about that. I used to do it to survive, sort of thing, you know. So I think that's very good. And then, because the other thing that I've noticed is that you just have to learn to let go much easier, because it's out of your control. So you just have to, okay, whatever, you know, whatever happens, happens. I'll go with the flow. Instead of fighting and sort of wanting to be in control. And I think that's a very useful exercise for us all to have.
Mhm. I can share something too. For me, I was trying to eat very less before, and also do this, how do you call this way of eating that for a long time, fasting, intermittent fasting and so on. And when this crisis began, I went into my old fear of dying of hunger, which I think I have inherited from my family, because when I was born, I had already 2 brothers and it was 52. We didn't have a lot to eat. So there was always the preoccupation of my mother that she couldn't feed the family. And then there came other children and so on. And I think I have this deeply in me. And when this crisis started, and I already, before I had the intuition, I bought a lot of stuff, so I wouldn't starve, that's for sure, you know. But I started not to take care anymore for eating little. So now I'm almost always eating, and I try to, at least in the evening, no things anymore from a certain hour, because otherwise I would be eating all the time, with the idea that if very bad times come, like in humanity has been, you know, then when you have enough fat, you survive for a while. I mean, it's not really, it's half conscious. No, I'm laughing about it, but it's also half unconscious. What could I eat? And I love chocolate, but now for some days I don't have chocolate anymore. So now I have to eat apples instead. You know? Anyway, and then in this idea of maybe not having enough to eat, I restarted a vegetable garden. And after we have met, I have to go there and water the plants, which actually I found out that I like a lot, to be physically active and work in the gardens. And I didn't do it so much anymore. And it was always a burden to me because I have, excuse me, this is a piece of apple peel. I have a big ground around and I have a lot to do. And so not doing the garden was sort of a relief for a while, because now in summer I have to get up at 5:30. I can't stay in bed for a long time because I have to water. Okay, I did that, and this is a change. And I find out that actually I like to do it. I don't like the obligations, but I like to watch the plants growing, and I don't like the snails eating my salad. And but it's a way to be in close contact with nature and with the circle of growing and dying, you know. That's, yeah, I think this is the things which have really changed for me. And then during the weeks, I could observe a difference in myself in the state of anxiety, which got less and less and less and less. And now last week I went out for shopping and I wasn't preoccupied at all. While the first weeks were, you know, put on all gloves and wash your hands all the time. That's not so much anymore. At least I don't feel it as a, you know, hard flimmer. So a part of food, what has changed and what do you want to maintain after this period? So where is what I asked to Volker, where is the goal where of your life? Did it change? Where is it going now? What do you envision for the next, let's say, 5 years or so in your life, in your, you know, personal life, but also if you want professionally, or, you know, what will you do? What do you think you will do and can do?
I don't think I will make any plans at all. 5 years, I mean, because time is kind of, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't know, who knows? I really want to try harder and harder just to live in the moment and not do anything else. And, you know, and that's why maybe I'm looking at the past to see, you're sort of organizing that, and then you can concentrate on living in the moment. I think that's the main thing for me anyway, not to make plans.
Well, to me, I have a close retirement situation because I am becoming 65 in 5 months. Therefore, you know, I don't know what is going to happen because regarding law, I have to take a decision. That I am obliged to take a decision on what to do if I want to receive a pension or not. So I don't have any idea what is going to happen to me in 5 months. So what will I feel in 5 months? So far, I think that if I do have some work, then I may ask for a retirement that will be half of the money and then keep on working. Or if I don't have much work, then to receive the whole quantity of the money, which after 37 years of working, it's only 600 euros, which is nothing. And I will have to learn, which is going to be quite a challenge. I will have to learn how to live with 600 euros a month. But right now, I don't want to even think about it because I don't know what I will choose. And I don't know what is going to happen regarding if I'm going to have work or not. As a therapist, I don't know if people is going to come for consultations or not. So I don't know what it will be. Like Ella said, I prefer to live day by day and see what happens. I am at service. So whatever God wants from me, it will be telling me in the spot. I am at service, whatever it is, I am here to do whatever I am needed for, let's say.
One thing that I noticed for myself is that I've been cooking a little bit more from home because I was eating out a lot, and that kind of food was not always very healthy. So that's been one good adjustment. Sometimes it can be a little challenging to make those healthy meals at home, but I'm making that effort. And I feel that because I grew up poor, and I still consider myself poor, I have learned to live without a lot. And so I feel like it forces me to be creative in terms of what I have and how to store food and do things like freezing or just experimenting. Like, I don't know, if the bananas are going bad, make banana bread, it lasts a little longer, little things like that. And so just feeling like um, maybe that's the blessing of poverty in some ways, that it makes me be more creative in that sense. And so I feel that even before the coronavirus hit, i was already I was already struggling a little bit. And so I feel like I was already learning how to live with very little means. And so I almost felt like when this came, I felt prepared. And then somehow I felt like I was having an abundance of food, which was kind of like a pleasant surprise, because I was like, how am I gonna store things, and by not going to the store so much. And then here we're very fortunate that we have like produce stands. So I do have to drive a little bit into the countryside a little more, but I go buy my fresh vegetables from a produce stand, so I don't have to interact too much with people at the store. And I did go to the grocery store the other day, but that's one of the things that I noticed is like, how can I be creative? How can I think of those spots that people usually don't go to, so that I can still have access to the things and I don't have to feel like I'm without. And then the other thing that I noticed is that it gives me a lot of compassion for people who feel the need to put a lot of things at once, because people were judging, and maybe I was judging too, about people hoarding toilet paper, for example. But I knew that that was almost kind of like an indicator of trauma, that before people felt like if they didn't have enough, they must have enough. And so I could relate to that in some way. And so I feel that instead of judging, like, why did people feel the need to have 4 rolls of toilet paper, like the big ones, that is like, well, it makes sense, because if you went without, you want to have enough. So I feel that being able to see it from like a trauma perspective, instead of like, oh, people are being greedy, and that's like judgment. So I feel that it's really important just to notice that, why do we do, and what's the usually there's a feeling beneath it, and it's fear-based. So just really grateful for that. But trying not to worry too much about food in the sense of like, what am I gonna eat next? But I also noticing I'm also consuming less meat. So and that's been good.
We are at the top of the hour, but I think we still, Volker, I don't know if you want to speak again on what has changed for you and what is your plans. You have already said something. Otherwise, we do a little bit of a summary, no? Everyone, what did your coming in here give you something? Was it worthwhile your time? And shall we continue with the chats or whatever? And then the personal checkout before we close. I mean, we can go other 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something.
I've got another thing. I don't know what the time is, but I've got another thing later on. Yeah, I mean, I would like to carry on, especially if we do every fortnight, you know, because it's an interesting situation and it's always interesting to speak to people. One thing that I really want to keep after this, if and when it goes, that I want to stay the same, is that so many people that I haven't heard from for years, like years literally, have been in touch saying, how are things, how are you? And it's been wonderful. Last night I had a whole evening meeting with old people I used to work with, and I haven't been there for 12 years. And I mean, I do keep in touch with them on an individual basis, but not all together, you know. And so we had a drink and a good chat and to catch up what had happened to everybody. And so that was great. So that kind of thing are the sort of gems that come out of this situation for me.
Yeah, it's true for me too. These Zoom meetings that I am doing a lot, it have to do with that. Recovering people that were from the past and that now we are, you know, chatting again and everything. And also recovering things that, you know, were more scientifical and that are very, very dear to me. And I am attending more those types of conferences and things. And they give me a lot, those, above all, quantum physics and neuroscience.
So do you follow SAND then, if you're into quantum physics?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there is one at 7 tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
On Zoom.
On Zoom?
Yeah, they have every week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a community meeting. It's not a talk. No, sometimes there is a presentation.
But
yeah.
Somebody.
A community, what type of community? I don't understand.
Science and non-duality.
It's called like that, science and non-duality?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Thank you for telling.
Yeah, and they have very interesting, when you go on the YouTube channel, very interesting talks. Some are more scientific, some are more spiritual, some are trying to connect the things together. And they have normally a week-long meeting in Italy here nearby.
Yeah.
And other week in America, but this year it's all online. And so they created this gathering. And there are up to 1,000 people. And 2 weeks ago, I think there was Charles Eisenstein. And I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
Who?
Charles Eisenstein.
No.
Is a really interesting person who was in the environmental movement, also on Occupy Wall Street and these things. And he has written books about money and spirituality and a whole lot of very good books. Also on food. He has written something on food long ago. But now he was really, before the corona already, he was sort of looking critically on the environmental movement and if this is really true as it is told us. And lately I found this video, I sent it to Ella, and I might send it also to you, which is really horrible to see that, but it really cleans up your mind about what myself in the past was trying to do and thinking that's right, and finding out that's actually a part of the problem instead of a part of the solution. When you were talking about Ella, about not eating anymore the meat, I was thinking about the pig which they put in to make gasoline out of a pig, you know, because it's considered biomass. And I thought when biomass, you know, these factories which make, I don't know what, that would be good, because I thought biomass is good. And then there is shown very clearly with very good pictures, shocking pictures, that what we think is thought is completely naive. And I see that most of the climate change movement are in this limited thought about what needs to be done, you know, and they have not this profound knowledge of what is misleading them, let's say in this way. I will share the video with you and you can watch it yourself. And for me, it was very painful, but in some way it confirmed my intuition about what is going on. And in some way I thought it's worse, much worse than I thought. So, and that's also needed. And for me, it's always, even if the truth is horrible, but it's better I know it than still being in the ignorance of, oh, that's good, you know, I continue to buy solar panels and stuff, not knowing what is the implication, you know. And so, yeah, anyway, I wanted to do the last word, but now I have the before last word. I give over to you.
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about this, Heidi, even before this film, you know, that solar panels, you need batteries, and to have batteries, you need to do mining of very valuable stuff and dig up the whole ground. And in Africa, they use children to do it and all this kind of thing. So that, you know, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, haven't we? And anyway, that the sort of so-called green economy is not very green, because it's still a bad economy. You know, even so.
When you see this, excuse me, and when you see the things, it's much more impressive than when you only know it somewhere in your back head. Like when I was shown all the fracking sites in America, that it was so mind-blowing. The whole country is full of fracking points, and fracking is the worst thing what we can do, you know. So anyway, it's our private discussion. I want to give over to you both still for the checkout.
Okay, girls and boy, thank you very much for being here and for giving this time of your own time. And I really hope that we all as human beings take care of ourselves and all and as much as we can around us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I will thank you, Heidi, that you do this job. I do a similar job here in Germany, bring together people, especially elder people. And it's so wonderful that we just now in a time where we can't get in contact that much with other people, that we find this way to get in contact even with people like we are here in this Zoom. I'm different. Like you, 4 times, 5 times in the week, I'm in a Zoom conference, always together with people I never would have met in my whole life. Mm. And we understand each other very well, and it's a very profound communication. So isn't that great that we found in this times now where we are forced not to come together, we come together in a wonderful way. So that's the future. And that's a lot better than that what we had before. So that's, I can see more and more the situation is not, that's now a special view on it, but it's not getting worse, it's getting better. I can feel it. Mm-hmm. Mm. So, and to finish it, you know, the next step could be, if we know us, if we do that weekly or whatever, the next step after Corona could be, I will visit you or you will visit me and all that. And isn't that great? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I find great is also that people who were so with technology now overcome.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Griselda, it's still up to you, I think, no?
Thank you. I also feel very grateful for the connection and opportunity to be here with you all. A part of me does want to say, I want to go to visit and see your garden or and see where you live in the middle of the forest. So maybe one day that could be an opportunity. But I do feel very blessed with the fact that we can connect from different parts of the world and share the space with you all. It's always very heartwarming for me to be here. And I do feel very connected, even if it's via online. I feel that the fact that you're all working on different things gives me the reassurance that I'm also doing the thing that I need to do by going inside of myself. And I do want to check out that game, the transformation game, because I'm curious to learn more about board games. And I'm like, that's like an interesting game. So maybe I'll check it out and see if I can play with someone interested in that stuff. So thank you.
I recommend it 100%.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You have all the emails, no, from everyone, so you can also connect among each other and ask questions. And Griselda, I wish you all the best with all the external and internal challenges you are facing.
Thank you. I feel very supported and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, and I will send out a doodle, or shall we just say in 2 weeks, Saturday at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm open to it.
I will not be hiding. Okay.
Okay, so fine. Whoever will come, I will tell it to the others. Gina wanted also to come today, but she didn't. It's not a problem. We will. Who comes will come, and it will be the right people coming together.
I will come whenever I can.
Okay, perfect. Then have a good evening. And who wants to join us on sand, I can afterwards, after giving water to the plants, I go in and send you the mail with the link for the Science and Non-Duality gathering.
Oh,
if you
thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Heidi.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. All the best.
Same.